We're live.
Please join me in pledging the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up, we have a presentation by the Coles County Farm Bureau. I wonder what it would take to get you back in this room.
Been 11 years.
Did you make him come?
We'll come down here with us there.
Yeah, I can, sure.
We'd just like to thank the county board for their support of agriculture, and we look forward to continuing that in the future, because we think ag is a huge part of what happens in Coles County, and I'm sure you guys share that same. So,
Daryl, this is Allies in Agriculture 2023-2024.
Thank you. Public comment. Can't read the first.
Perry.
Okay, Mr. Perry. I'm sorry.
Well, the results are in. We know a little bit more now that the depositions are complete. I want to ask two of the sitting board members that were here to go back and ask you, Mrs. Purdy and you, Mr. Shutt, can you tell me what caused things to go like they did? Because you stood up last time we were in here and said you knew there was something wrong. So I'd like you to tell us, concerned taxpayers and people here, when you noticed there was something wrong. When did that happen and what did you notice that was wrong?
The very, very first meeting that I would attend to when I got elected. 2 days before the meeting, I heard there was going to be a large crowd here. And I said to them, to the person I was talking to about it, I said, well, what's going on? What have you heard that I haven't? Because I didn't know much what was going on. And he said the property taxes and everything was all screwed up and all that stuff. So I said, okay. So at the meeting, the very first meeting, we was all here, and it was crowded. And if you remember right, Mr. Perry, I didn't know much, and I stood up and told, and I believe the chairman was Stan, I stood up and said to everybody in this room at the time, this is my first meeting, and I don't know much what's going on, but I heard a little bit. Something's not right here, and we need to try to help you folks.
So the next question to that is, you sat through 6, 7 years of this, and I'm sure there's been plenty of county board meetings that went on the other side where you're all meeting. So if you knew there was something wrong, why didn't somebody advance something to fix something? Why did it take us court action to prove something that was completely right to begin with?
That's a very good point. Several times I went to, I won't say no names, to certain people that was on the board and say, hey, we know, we need to do something. And at the time, Mr. Perry was under a lawsuit, and I was told to shh. I don't want you saying anything or nothing about nothing or anything. I said, why not? We want you to be quiet about this because it's under a lawsuit.
Well, we spent 7 years. 7 years at this, okay?
Okay.
And it's disturbing to me.
Mr. Perry, you have 30 seconds.
No. He was talking. Let's stop this. Stop it. It's just ridiculous.
It's part of your 3
You know why you're doing it.
Stop it.
No, you know why you're doing it. You don't want to hear it.
Whatever.
You don't want to hear it.
You You got 7 seconds.
7 years. 7 years we put up with this, okay? And we know now why. Because the long arm of your state's attorney, A, didn't want to do anything, and B, didn't do anything, and he chose the wrong side because you guys are wrong. You're totally off base and wrong. And the depositions will prove what I'm saying.
And I did say, and you folks mentioned several times about Bob Becker had a lot of trouble with him right off the bat and all that stuff, and you guys were wanting him in here. And I said, bring him in, bring him in, bring him in, bring him in. And I was the only one at the meeting said anything about bringing him in, bring him. No, we don't want to do that. No. Why not? Why not? Let's see what this guy's doing. And like I said at the last meeting, Mr. Perry, I probably didn't do that much, but I tried. And I'm only one vote, only one opinion. And when it was under the lawsuit, I was told to shh. But there was a lot of times, and you know, I would say something in the air. So wait, no, that's wrong, that's wrong. I agree with you, Mr. Perry. I agree with you, Stan, and stuff like that.
The record speaks for itself. Just last thing. If the next 3 or 4 years are going to be like the last 7, I don't even care to see you folks any longer. Because you did the wrong thing, and you listened to somebody as a state's attorney that doesn't know what he's doing. Because you listened to the long arm of him, and he doesn't understand the law, for if he did, this would never happen. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Dukeman.
How many in this room have actually read the depositions results? Has anyone that's on the board? All right. One thing I would like to ask, and this is towards the Office of Rules Committee. After reviewing the results of the depositions, I believe what should happen is that every board member that was here in 2017 should not be allowed on any county committee at all. So that would mean Stan Mesker should be removed from the committee that he's on right now, and anyone else that was here during that period of time should never be allowed to represent the people of this county ever again. We've spent, to my knowledge, my addition's correct, over $32,000 in defense for the county that should have never been spent had they just admitted what they did was wrong and fixed it, corrected it, whatever they needed to do at that period of time. They chose to, under the guidance of Stan Mesker, to not do that. In the May meeting, he stated, in the June meeting, he said you might as well just go ahead and file your lawsuit because that's the only way things are going to get fixed. I would encourage every one of you, if you haven't ever gone to YouTube, go to the March and April meetings and view those. You will see there where we have our county board chairperson, our supervisor of assessments, and our state's attorney lying to the public. The March meeting, they said one thing, they came back the following month in April and said something different. So on that list also, I would include Brian Bauer also to never be on any committee for the county, because he should never have been put in the position he is in right now, because he is not fit to be a judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Allen.
I'm going to read fast. County board was exposed for illegally hiring a private person to do the job of supervisor of assessments. That exposure triggered a cover-up. The record proves all of us were right about everything exposed in this issue. The public was lied to for years. Mr. Becker's death. Question. Fair to say that as a result of those concerns being raised, there was a decision made to quit giving you a 1099 and start issuing you a W-2? Answer. They just said, we need to you go fill out a W-2 paperwork in the treasurer's office. Who said? Who is we? Karen related to me, but I believe it came from the state's attorney's office. That would be Mr. Bauer. a now sitting judge, who created an affidavit for Karen that is inconsistent with the paper trail and her own testimony. That affidavit appears to be an attempt to cover up the truth of the matter. Karen never hired Mr. Becker. The county board did, and it's proven in the depositions. Question, did you get paid for some work, for board of review work or things of that nature? Oh, yes, he says. A FOIA response from Elaine Kamada informed the requester Mr. Becker received no additional compensation for board of review work. Who do we believe, the actual pay records or misinformation in a FOIA request? Question, was there a separate agreement that you made on how much you wanted compensated for that time? It would be an hourly rate for board of review work. And then the next meeting we had, they said, yeah, it's approved. Who's they? The board of review said that. There is no record of this action taken by the board of review. No agenda item, no vote, no budget, and no authority to hire employees. How many more laws were violated? Mr. Fredericks responded, do you have conversations with the board of review members that Mr. Becker was asking for an hourly rate for pay in order to be part of those appeals? I don't recall having that conversation, no. By the way, there's no minutes of this conversation ever taking place. So who's lying? The guy named in the lawsuit who has to create a narrative to support his improper and illegal payments from the board of review? Or the board member who has no dog in the fight? Mr. Becker, he's questioned. Ms. Biddle states that the work is done by an independent fee appraiser hired by Coles County. Is she referring to you? Yes. An independent fee appraiser is not an employee, as was trying to be claimed after they got exposed. Her communication conflicts with her deposition and her affidavit. Mr. Becker, would it be fair to say that you were doing work underneath your bid requirements before the oath of office was signed in June of 16? Yes. Doing work before the oath of office was signed. How special is that? That too conflicts with claims by Karen in her affidavit and testimony. Settle this case and just simply be done with spending the taxpayer money and acknowledge that the prior board broke the stinking law, just like was said from day one. And with that in mind, and I'm sorry your state attorney's not here, I would highly recommend, if you have any interest in saving thousands of dollars, may I finish with this? Sure. If you want to save thousands of dollars, have your state's attorney contact your neighboring state's attorney in Shelby County and ask him for assistance in your union labor contract stuff. He's a labor law expert, and he's available to provide those services through an intergovernmental agreement. Doesn't cost you folks a penny, and you can save from spending the thousands you're spending on law firms in Chicago. Thank you.
Mr. Denoff.
8 years to get to this point. How much money, Rex?
That's just what they spent.
How much?
Over 32,000.
Over 32,000. I want to say this. I'm going to read parts of these depositions because you need to know who the main culprits were in this. And everyone else who was complicit in this, that knew what was going on, that had been here. Mr. Edwards, you knew what was going on. Kelly Lockhart knew what was going on. You guys were all partisan. You said nothing. As far as I'm concerned, you're all unfit for office. And anyone that was on the board sitting here the whole time, when we come up here and say, you're just troublemakers and you're this and that. No, we were the public taxpayers that were paying the bills, that were telling the truth. So you don't believe me, Mrs. Purdy? Maybe you believe Stan, okay, when in his own testimony in the deposition. Maybe you'll believe Brandon Bell. Both former chairmen who lied. And not only that, we've got the last 7 years on video of every meeting and all the lies that were said. So anyone who wants to challenge me on this, I've got all the proof in hard copy here. I'd love to show it to any new board members that would like to see it, or anyone else. It's true. I said over the 7-year period, I kept bringing up, what's going to cook the goose of these people are two things. The 2 letters that were written and signed by the chairman of the board then, Stan Metzger, who sent the letter to Reggie Phillips, and he sent the letter to then State Senator Dale Ryder. And he gave himself up with what the county was doing, that they contracted Mr. Becker. The second thing was the Office and Rules Committee meeting on May 4th, 2015. Okay? And
2,000 what, sir?
May 4th, 2015. The Office and Rules Committee, where they approved Bob Becker's bid to be forwarded the next week to the county board for approval. And I said all along, there was a company, Tyler Tech, that had a $500,000 plus bid and there was a Bob Becker who had a $115,000 bid, and I said, if Bob Becker was hired by Karen Biddle in the office like they were claiming, why is he in front of the Office and Rule Committee? And why is his bid being compared to Tyler Tech's bid? And why were they forwarding that bid to the county board's meeting the following week for approval? He was never hired by Karen Biddle. He was never an employee here. When we read you the statute that says that what you were doing was illegal, that John brought, right away, Brian Bauer, there was a big scheme to change his compensation. He was not a W-2 employee. Okay? He was a 1099. They changed it. They tried to make it fit the law. It was breaking the law. I want to read you part of Brandon Bell's deposition.
You have 15 seconds.
I'm going to read this deposition. I've waited 8 years for this, and I'm going to read this. The public needs to know. You can laugh all you want.
You know what?
Okay? You can laugh. This is not funny.
Go ahead.
I don't find it funny. All right. This is deposition by Brandon Bell.
How long is this going to take?
As long as it takes to read the sentences I got. I don't know.
It's not going to take that long. You got.
It's not going to take that long. You keep interrupting me. It's going to take longer.
I'm going
to start reading.
I'm going to give you 30.
I'm going to start reading the deposition, okay?
After 30 seconds.
I'm going to start reading the deposition. I'm reclaiming my time, okay? Based upon hiring practices, my last question. Based upon hiring practices, if in fact Ms. Childress was hiring an employee for her office, Office and Rules Committee would not have been having a meeting about a potential hire in that office. Is that correct? Brandon Bell. Correct. Next question. Understood. They would start with you, correct? Meaning the Office and Rules Committee. Correct. So if the assessor's office had staffing needs that would exceed their budget, the assessor would start by coming to the Office and Rules Committee asking to increase their budget, correct? Brandon Bell. Yes. Isn't it true that the assessor Childress never came to Office and Rules Committee during this time asking for a budget increase for more staff? No. Question. She did not, correct? Answer. Brandon Bell. No. Isn't it true that Ms. Childress never came to Offices and Rules Committee saying that I desire to hire Bob Becker as a staff person and I need more money? That never happened, did it? That never happened, did it? Answer.
I'm going to ask
no. Isn't it true that the Office and Rules Committee solicited a proposal for commercial reassessment and eventually adopted and accepted Mr. Becker's
I give
proposal?
everybody 3 minutes.
Or
I give him
proposal.
over 3 minutes. He's done. with his
Consideration
comment.
by
We
the
need to
board.
vote on that.
Yes.
No, I want him
This
to
is-
stop.
No, this is factual stuff. The board needs to hear.
I give everybody 3 minutes. I give you 3 minutes. They're not
Oh,
special.
thank you.
You're done.
Thank you for giving me 3 minutes.
Stop.
I waited 8 years for this.
That's okay.
Okay? No, it's not okay. It's okay for you to laugh. It might be okay for you to think it's okay. I want to know, does the board want to hear the truth or not? You guys have heard us for 8 years.
You're done. Sit down.
Case law says you have to vote to do what you want to do. Just info you. Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
I've read it. Go read the Florida case.
It does
The
not
board has to
require
vote.
state
You just
law.
can't.
All I got is Stan Metzger's deposition. All I got is that. Sentences out of his.
We
I'm going to read
already
it.
have a resolution.
I'm gonna read it.
3 minutes.
I'm gonna read it.
He's done. You're
8
done.
years.
Your next person.
8 years I've been waiting for this.
I would like to hear the information. Frankly, I want it on the record that I would like to hear it.
You're not voluntarily walk out. You give up your right. Is that a motion?
It has been 8 years, and I haven't seen their
Somebody
deposition.
else could read it later.
No, you know what? It was asked last month if you guys would read the depositions, and I see Mr. Doty read it, but no one else evidently took the effort to read it. Especially, I would expect the people that had been here for the last 8 years and think that we're just coming here and lying and not saying anything. Now we have actually sworn testimony, sworn depositions that show what we were saying was absolutely, positively true. And if you don't believe me, you're going to have to believe your peers. Because you're not going to read the depositions, Miss Birdie.
Let me get back to this point of the resolution, and I'll read it to you. A public comment for any person is restricted to 3 minutes. Total time for public comment is restricted to 30 minutes. The chairman or a majority of the county board members may grant more time. You know what? I will, the majority, I don't know if we do a roll call or what you want. If you want to sit and listen to this, I'm game. But it's going to take a majority of the board members to listen to the rest of this.
I would encourage,
So I'm going to ask for a roll call, whether or not you want to allow him to use additional time beyond the 3 minutes.
Mr. Donato, how much longer do you think it's going to take?
2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, I vote for this.
Well,
Just let him go ahead.
go ahead. Roll call.
Mason,
I'm saying I want to hear it, but hijacking this forum is not the way to do it. And I would suggest a different, that he actually get on the agenda to be able to read that to us and get more time. But for right now, I'm voting no.
Purdy,
I'm voting no because they're so stickler about the rules and they're not following the rules. So no.
Shook,
No.
Lutz,
Yes.
Bennett,
Well, I agree with Gail. I would like to know about this, but
It's for 2
making a
minutes.
presentation of it, but I'm going to vote no.
Clayton,
I'm going to vote yes.
Clary. Yes. Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
I would say no, because this is again not the proper format to do it. I would love to see this information. I would like to see the information. If you would submit it to me, I will look at it. I will read every single word of the depositions.
We should
But I don't
have
think this is the
submitted to
format to do it in.
Submitted for 8 years.
No.
This is public comment. It's time to comment now. I've been coming here for 8 years faithfully. 8 years.
6 no and 4 yes. I'm going to ask you one more time to sit down.
I'm gonna
Mr.
read this.
Donato.
I'm going to read
If
it.
you continue to read, I'm going to ask that you be removed.
I'm going to read what I got to read. If you got to do what you got to do.
Just shows that you don't want to hear the truth.
Because it's wrong.
No.
How about the
It
law?
shows that the
No, it
rules
shows
are
that.
okay for you.
What about the rules for you? What about not lying to the public? Do those rules matter? What about changing his employment status? Does that not matter to you? Does that not matter? Those rules don't matter, but you want to stifle me when I finally get the deposition because you won't believe me.
That doesn't matter to me. I'll take it. I don't think it's certain. I don't think the sheriff is ready to certain. But the majority of the board has voted not to allow him to speak beyond his 3 minutes, and your time is up. I'm going to ask you to sit down or be asked for now.
Coming from a bunch of lawbreakers, telling me that last month it was I said the word damn. And this month you don't even want to hear the deposition, you don't even go out of your way to hear it. Yeah, this county's run real good.
Mr. Stone.
All of you.
Well, I think I'll just, I've been up quite a few hours today. I'll give James some more time. I'll give him my time. You can go ahead.
He's been.
Oh. Well, I guess I'll keep my time then. Is that all right with you?
Sure.
Okay, well, as far as the speaking, we look around the country today, we'll soon have 4th of July, or whatever that's worth nowadays. I remember being in grade school and the teacher said, now over there in Russia, they can't say what they want to say. Well, as we look around us today, that's where we're headed. I remember being over here at Lakeland College several years ago, it was at least 7 minutes, and now we're down to 3. Well, shoot, why don't we just go for 1? Does it mean anything? So, that's all I really have to say, yeah, 4th of July, what does it mean? It's fading away. It doesn't mean much. It doesn't mean much anymore.
That's fine, that's fine. Okay.
You can do all the flag waving you want.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. Mr. Pratt.
Good evening. I want to talk about appointments. Item number 1, one appointment to the county board. The county's code has specific, 50, or maybe it's the election code, whatever, 10 ILCS 5. When there's a vacancy in any elected county office, in a county board which is not a home rule unit, the county board or board of county commissioners shall declare such a vacancy exists, and notification thereof shall be given to the county central committee or the appropriate county board or board of county commission district members, committees of each established political party within 3 days of the occurrence of the vacancy. I haven't read any meeting minutes or agendas where any vacancy was declared, which is step number 1 when there's a vacancy. Step number 2 would be to notify the proper people within 3 days. And step number 3 would be to put one appointment to the county board on the meeting agenda. So I'm just asking, when did step number 1 and number 2 happen? When did you declare the vacancy in an open public meeting? When did you notify the political parties prior to right now? Can anybody answer that? I'd appreciate it.
You're not asking the law to be followed, are you?
That's 10 ILCS 5//25-11. If anybody cares to look at it. How's that? I'm done.
Thank you. Jamie D. It says Jamie D. Jamie D. Period. Next one is Mr. Combs.
I have, or we waiting for Mr. D?
Do you know who Jamie D. is?
No, I don't. I'm going to change up a little bit here and enlighten the board. And I may have to do 2 or 3 months worth of coming and speaking to you guys. We've got a storm coming. And people that aren't keeping an eye on what's going on in this country are going to get caught. There are going to be issues coming forward to this county board in the near future that you're going to have to address. And I'm hoping that it isn't handled like the COVID was. Unless I was lied to, and please, any board member that was here during that, correct me if I was. My understanding is the county board reacted on fear and intimidation from the governor by being told that if you kept the businesses closed and mask mandates as long as possible by Nancy Pelosi, that they would be rewarded after the election. And this did happen. The question is, you people are here to represent the people. You're not here to represent the government. You're here to look out the best fair. The thing is that unless I was lied to by an ex-county board member, Coles County never met the minimum requirement to shut down businesses and mandate masks. And as a result, people lost their livelihoods and had to file bankruptcy because this county board chose to give in to fear and intimidation that was threatened that funds would be withheld from this. If any board member here can tell me that's not so, I would like to hear it. Okay? My understanding is you had a minimum requirement and you didn't follow it. And therefore, you chose the government over the people that elected you to represent them and to be on their behalf and everything else. The plandemic, and yes, I'm calling it the plandemic, was to see how many sheep we had in America and how many people would get. A true pandemic has every hospital bed full, every gymnasium has cots in it and filled with people and people dropping on the streets. That is a pandemic. Okay? This is something that people need to watch and look. People on national TV, this country is under attack. Okay? The Democrats are not the ones doing this.
You're sitting there going, what? The Democrat Party doesn't control its party anymore, and the Republican Party is under attack also. We call them rhinos. Okay? True Democrats wouldn't do to this country what this has happened. I'm telling you that right now. I have friends that are Democrats. And you say, oh, conspiracy theory. 1 million Democrats, over 1 million Democrats prior to the November election left the party from the same conclusion. The Democrat Party from Utah announced on local TV that they took their party back from a socialist organization.
Your time is up, Mr.
No problem. You won't have any out of me. I got several months to come back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicholas Dale.
Corruption in Coles County and its employees. On October 23, 2019, I was in a political debate with Andrew Schick, Judge Mitch Schick's son, on Kennedy Valanivich's Facebook post. The topic was about the black population in Coles County as well as in the penitentiary. I corrected Andrew's outdated.org statistics with current.gov statistics. Andrew commented something along the lines of, I'm sorry I'm not a doctor's child that can afford the best education that money can buy. I responded with a screenshot of Andrew's father's $212,000 per year salary from the Illinois Comptroller's website and stated, it doesn't look like you were deprived of privilege either. Shortly after, I believe Judge Schick legally asked law enforcement officers to follow me around and make an alarming number of appearances in my vicinity, thus violating the Citizen Privacy Protection Act and the Freedom from Location Surveillance Act. Mitch Schick formerly represented a plaintiff that sued my father's company, Lakeland Radiologists. I've gone through the county circuit clerk files and found over 950 case files regarding Lakeland Radiologists. Mitch Schick and the judges here know who my family is, and it is a conflict of interest. I took this picture on November 8, 2019, 2 weeks after the Facebook debate, and declared that I was seeing an alarming number of officers every time I arrived in Coles County to visit my mom. I opposed racism publicly on the aforementioned Facebook post and was met with retaliation. This is a violation of my First Amendment rights in the Illinois Human Rights Act. This is inherently willful and wanton and malicious retaliation for opposing systemic racism. I've saved thousands of dash camera video clips of every time I pass a law enforcement officer on the roadway. The board is aware from my public speaking at 2 meetings ago that I am going to sue State's Attorney Jesse Danley, Judge O'Brien in this county. I took business law at Eastern in 2018. I made an e-file account around the beginning of 2020 for my own pro se litigation interests. On January 5th, 2022, I linked myself to a case that I intended to file into on the e-file system. On January 6th, 2022, my father, my cousin, my half-brother's mom, and I ate at Billy Baroo's Sports Bar before heading to the Illinois basketball game. We had a routine and pattern eating at that restaurant and then going to the Illini games. Sat at the table next to us was Judge Schick and his court transcriptionist wife, Joda, one day after linking myself on the e-file system. I had worked with Joda obtaining a court hearing transcript a few months earlier. I complained to her about discrepancies on the transcript and things that were left out of the record. Their appearance in my vicinity is witness tampering, and it intimidated and interfered with my ability to file on the e-file system. This county's court is well aware I have a disability from my 13 Mental Health 12 and 13 Mental Health 21 cases. This county's court knows I require American with Disability Act accommodations to effectively participate. This county's court has violated my rights to enjoy the full service and benefits it offers pursuant to the Illinois Human Rights Act. This county's court has discriminated against me for my disability. I believe Mitch utilized Fog Revealer, hired a private investigator to track my routine so he could illegally and discriminatorily intimidate me that day at the restaurant. There's over 2,000 restaurants Judge Schick could have selected to eat at with his family in a 50-mile radius of Charleston. It is more than a mere coincidence, and I demand Mitch be held legally accountable and indicted. I have been researching these crimes and civil torts, and I intend to sue Coles County and Mitch and Joda Schick.
Mr. Dale, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that you don't have enough seats for your county, and you should offer 5 minutes because many people go over.
There's no further public comment. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a quick question? Since there's one person missing, would you mind if I repeat to Mr. Danley the issue of your possible labor law representation?
Sure.
Your state's attorney in Shelby County, his private practice for 20 plus years was labor law. You reach out to him, he's more than happy to assist in any labor issues you have or contract assistance. And that would mean you would not have the financial burden that we're paying out for private counsel now. And he is an expert, if not the expert in the state of Illinois. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion, second.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Friesen, second by Mr. Clayton. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesen,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. There will be one appointment to the county board to fill Lisa Jacobs' position. That appointment will be next month. One appointment to the Lincoln Fire Protection District, Ryan Berkheimer, through 2026. With advice and consent of the board. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey, Doty,
No.
Friesen,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. One appointment to the Drainage District Number 12, Humboldt. It's Mr. Miller until September of 2025. I believe there is a letter from the attorney regarding this. I think last month we voted that down. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He doesn't even have to live in the
That letter is in your board book. So with advice and consent of the board, I'm going to appoint Mr. Miller. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey, Doty,
Yes.
Friesen,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. Find it, I need to read the prevailing wage. Page is that on?
Right before finance.
Before finance?
Yeah, just before finance.
Thank you. Whereas the state of Illinois has enacted an act relating to the wages of laborers, mechanics, and other workers employed in any public works by the state, county, city, or any public body or political subdivision, or by anyone under contract for public works approved June 26, 1941, codified as amended 820 ILCS 130/193, formerly Illinois Revised Statute, Chapter 48, Paragraph 39, S1. And whereas the aforesaid act requires that the county board of the County of Coles investigate and ascertain a prevailing rate of wages as defined in this said act for laborers, mechanics, and other workers in the locality of the county employed in performing construction of public works for said county. Now therefore be ordained by the County Board of Coles County, Illinois, Section 1, to the extent as is required by an act regulating wages of laborers, mechanics, and other workers employed in any public works by the state, county, city, or any public body or any public political subdivision, or anyone under contract for public works approved June 26, 1941 as amended. The general prevailing wages of this locality for laborers, mechanics, and other workers engaged in construction of public works coming under the jurisdiction of the county board is hereby ascertained to be the same as prevailing rate of wages for construction work in Coles County area as determined by the Department of Labor, State of Illinois as of June 2022. Copy of the determination being attached here to and incorporated herein by reference, as required by said act, and all revisions of prevailing rate of wages by the Department of Labor of the State of Illinois shall supersede the Department's June determination and apply to any and all public works construction undertaken by the county. The definition of any terms appear in this ordinance which are also used in aforesaid act shall be the same in said act. Section 2, nothing herein contained shall be construed to apply said general prevailing rate of wages as herein ascertained to any work or employment except public works construction of the county board to the extent required by this aforesaid act. Section 3, the county board shall publicly post or keep available for inspection by any interested party in the main office of the county board this determination or any revisions of such prevailing rate of wage. A copy of this determination or the current revised determination of prevailing rate of wages then in effect shall be attached to all contract specifications. Section 4, county board shall mail a copy of this determination to any employer and to any association of employers who have filed their names and addresses requesting copies of any determination stating the particular rates and a particular class of workers whose wages will be affected by such rates. Section 5, the county board shall promptly file a certified copy of this ordinance with both the Secretary of State Index Division and the Department of Labor of the State of Illinois. Section 6, the county board shall cause to be published in a newspaper of general circulation within the area of this ordinance, and such publication constitutes notice that the determination is effective, and this is the determination of this public body. We do this annually. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mason?
Yes?
Oh, we need a motion.
No.
I'm sorry.
Whatever.
I'm getting ahead.
What?
So who wants to make a motion? Ms. Mason?
Sure.
All right, give a motion. Have a second. Second by Ms. Purdy. Now we'll answer.
Was it Purdy? Mason?
Yes.
Thank you. Purdy?
Yes.
Shook?
Yes.
Watts?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Clayton?
Yes.
Corey? Yes. Doty?
No.
Friesland?
Yes.
Cox?
No. Committee reports, building and grounds.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask one question?
Yes.
In light of what was said earlier, are you declaring that we have a county board position open?
Yes.
Thank you.
So that's it.
Building and grounds, Mr. Chairman, there was no meeting, but with the assistance from Lisa McMichaels, I got some information on some projects that are going on. At the time of this letter received from Steve Simpson, our maintenance supervisor, he reported that there were 4 windows at this time, 4 windows to be completed, and there were some screens to be ordered, and an update as of today, they're all done. So there was a little bit of trim to be finished, and the arched windows have been sealed and painted. These are these windows up here around the building. They're waiting for another estimate for blinds. The Public Defender's Office building is done. The steps for the project that I think is on the east side, there was a price from Tom Busher for $19,920, and he's the same person who did the west side, and the price is about the same as it was for that project. The sidewalk on the east side will also be replaced by Tom, and it will be paid by the city for $6,000. And the elevator project is at the architect's office waiting for the drawings. So I'll have a report.
Thank you. Cooperative Extension Board, Ms. Corey.
Yes, I'm sorry. I have the minutes on my phone. So the Extension Council meeting was called to order on June 1st at 6 p.m. in Mattoon Public Library with the following members in attendance: Jerry Bertrand, Jim Sparks, Tom Webb, Gary Gardini, Scott Siegmiller, Kelly Behringer, Dustin Hagen, East Corey, Travis Phelps, and Jesse McCluskey, the county director. Tom Webb made a motion to approve the March 29th minutes, and that motion carried unanimously with a second by Scott Siegmiller. Jesse McCluskey provided the committee updates on finances. There was no significant change. They're a little over budget on one line because they hired a consultant for assessments and training, but they are able to cover that with the reserve funding. There was a discussion about Cumberland Building that they are going to take over, but there's no internet currently, and it's already been budgeted. They will soon be meeting with the county boards to request continued funding for FY24. And Jesse made a motion for an amount to be budgeted. Kelly Behringer moved to budget $25,000. Tom Webb second, and carried unanimously. Jerry Bertrand moved to accept the financial report. Gary Garbini seconded, carried unanimously. There were 2 resignations recently, so 2 new people had to be added to the signature cards at the banks. Tom Webb moved to have them added, Jim Sparks seconded, it carried unanimously. There are subcommittees that we broke out into, and it's programs, marketing, membership, and and some updates were given there. No old business, new business. The schedule was discussed, and we will continue to meet on the first Thursday every quarter at 6 p.m. in the Mattoon Library. We are scheduling our subcommittee meetings. Jesse would like us to meet between each council meeting. There's a needs assessment going on currently, and all the members were sent a survey to complete. There's a retirement on 7/31. If anyone's interested in 4-H youth work, they can apply for that. No executive session, no public comments. And the meeting adjourned at 7:20 p.m. by a motion by Dustin Hay and a second by Kelly Behringer.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. I just wanted to add a good news thing with that, because I've worked with, now being on that committee with the 4-H 3 times, 2 speaking contests and 1 other contest. And then I sent a guy to state, and he asked me if I would help coach him. And I said I'd be happy to, and he ended up getting second in state. So we had a guy from the county get second in state at the speech contest.
You should apply for the company.
Yeah.
Next is the county office and rules.
No meeting.
Thank you. Will I have a report on the education committee or the emergency food and shelter board?
I have a
Emergency-
report on education.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I attended for Lisa. The ROE, the Regional Office of Education 11, met June the 5th at 9 a.m. And this covers Coles, Moultrie, Shelley, Cumberland, Douglas, Clark, and Edgar counties. A report of official acts for the fiscal year of 2023. The number of GED tests administered increased from 51 in December and January and February to 87 in March, April, and May. The GED stands for General Education Diploma, and it is being changed to Illinois High School Diploma. 3 initial bus driver courses were held with a total of 18 participants since January. During the second quarter of this year, 34 students were in the Bridges Truancy program, 95 in the Bridges Safe Schools program, and 47 were in Pathways Alternative Education program. 3 students were referred to their county's state's attorney's office. The number of homeless students in the ROE 11 increased from 645 in the first quarter of 2023 to 832. And homelessness for education is different for other areas, but for education, homeless students are defined by the federal government as those lacking an adequate home, meaning they are sleeping on a couch or at a friend's, or they have left home or been kicked out. Let's see, a total of 264 teachers so far since in 2023 have renewed their licenses, which have to be renewed every 5 years following 120 hours of professional development. 37 substitute teaching licenses were renewed, and 32 criminal background and fingerprint checks were completed for a total of 102 so far in 2023. Teachers have to go through a background check and be fingerprinted. A total of 462 teachers participated in professional development workshops at the ROE building here in Charleston. The ROE 11 wrote for a federal grant for homeless students, which they received $8,000, and they plan to write for a variety of additional grants. The ROE building needs 2 air conditioners, and for the budget report, the proposed budget for fiscal year 2024 was approved at $239,552,000. which is the same budget as fiscal year 2023. And the next meeting will be at 9 a.m. September 11th.
Thank you. Assuming nobody else attended the Emergency Food and Shelter Board. I mean, emergency telephone system, Mr. Schiff.
No meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Finance
Do
Committee.
you have anything? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The Finance Committee is, we had 3 meetings, looks like. We were called to order on May the 9th at 6 p.m. with the following members present: Lisa Jaco, Nancy Purdy, Michael Watts, Mike Clayton, and Darrell Cox, chairman presiding. Also attending was Lisa McMichael, administrative assistant. Old business, none. New business, the members discuss and review resumes for the administrative assistant position. After reviewing and choosing a date, Mrs. McMichaels was instructed to contact applicants for scheduling interviews. No miscellaneous business. The meeting adjourned at 6:42 on a motion by Ms. Jaco and a second by Mr. Watts. We had a Finance Committee meeting on May 22nd. Finance Committee was called to order at 4 p.m. with the following members present: Lisa Jaco, Nancy Purdy, Michael Watts, Mike Clayton, and Darrell Cox, chairman presiding. Also attending were Jeff Lahr, Mental Health Administrator, Board members Gail Mason and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. Treasurer's report, none. Old business, none. 2 tax sale resolutions were presented to the members. They are attached in the board minutes. Ms. Jaco motioned to forward to the county board and was seconded by Mr. Watts. I will entertain a motion for the tax sale resolutions.
I so move.
Motion by Ms. Purdy, second. Second. By Mr. Doty. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. Committee was presented with a resolution to return unused ARPA funds from the Health Department Medical Mobile Unit Fund. It's also attached. Ms. Jaco motioned to forward the resolution to the county board and was seconded by Mr. Clayton. Unanimous ayes, no nays, and absent. Purdy. I will entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Clayton. Second.
Question, did they decide not to do it?
Yes, that's correct. They did not buy the mobile van.
Okay.
A second by Mr. Watts. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. The committee was also presented with a resolution to return unused ARPA funds from Habitat for Humanity Septic System Fund. The motion was made by Mr. Watts to forward to the county board. Ms. Jacobs seconded. Motion carried 4 unanimous. No nays, 1 absent. They didn't spend all the money that we allotted in returning some of the funds. I entertain a motion. I'll make the motion. Motion by Mr. Bennett, second by Ms. Corey. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. A resolution for use of ARPA funds to Morgan Township Building Addition, shared with the members. It's also attached. A motion by Ms. Jacob to approve and forward to the county board was made and seconded by Mr. Clayton. 4 unanimous yeses, no nays, and 1 absent. Motion? Motion by Mr. Doty, second by Mr. Friesland. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. Committee was presented with a resolution for the use of ARPA funds to the Lincoln Log Cabin Foundation, also attached. Mr. Clayton made a motion to accept and forward to the county board and was seconded by Ms. Jacob. Ayes, 3, 1 nay, 1 absent.
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
No. A resolution to use ARPA funds to SACUS for revenue loss was presented to the members. It's also attached. Mr. Watts' motion to forward to the county board and the second by Ms. Jacob. Ayes, yes. Nays, none. Entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Watts, second
Second.
by Ms. Mason. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. The resolution was presented for use of ARPA funds to Coles County Mental Health Life Planks for public health improving.
Just scratch that one.
Scratch that
That's
one.
one next month. Sorry. Yep.
Okay. Resolution to use ARPA funds to Coles Together for a pandemic relief program was presented to the members. See attached. A motion by Ms. Purdy to accept and forward to the county board were made, and second by Ms. Jacob. Yes, 4, nays, 1.
Can someone explain a little bit more about what that is? Pandemic relief program?
It's basically a sub-grant program for businesses that show need and relief in some other capacity.
So we would provide the funds to Coles Together and they would distribute it from there?
At no administrative cost to the county.
For things like revenue loss from the pandemic?
Yeah, there's a set criteria for the recipients by.
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Bennett,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Clayton. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts,
Yes.
yes, Mike?
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
No. A resolution to use ARPA funds for the North Alcohol Township for a maintenance building was presented to the committee. A motion to forward to the county board was made by Mr. Clayton and Mr. Watts second. Ayes, 5, unanimous, no nays. Any discussion? A motion?
So moved. That's fine.
Motion by Mr. Doty, a second by Ms. Mason. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts? Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. A resolution to use ARPA funds to FEMA for purchase of an encoder was presented to the members. Ms. Jacob motion to forward to the county board and was seconded by Mr. Pritchett. Ayes, unanimous, 5, no nays. Discussion?
I so moved.
What's that encoder?
Oh, we got a, who made that motion? Ms. Purdy, and seconded by
I'll second.
Mr. Watts. Roll call.
Question.
Oh,
what's
I'm
the
sorry.
encoder, or whatever it is? What is it?
The new system that we have for the sirens, the emergency sirens, needed an encoder they weren't aware of, and so it was purchased later, and this is to pay the funds back for that purchase so that our sirens go off.
Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts? Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. The members were presented with the resolution to use ARPA funds for the Public Defender's Office. Mr. Watts made a motion to forward to the county board and was seconded by Ms. Purdy. Ayes, unanimous, 5, and no nays. Any discussion?
Did we talk about this previously? Have we voted on something like this? already?
moved.
Motion by Mr. Watts.
I'll second that.
Who? Mr. Bennett? Roll call.
Mason,
Yes?
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey, Doty,
Yes.
Denise, did you say yes?
I did.
Thank you. Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. A resolution for use of ARPA funds for the Coles County on Aging for the purpose of a transit van, shared with the members. Ms. Purdy motion to forward to the county board and second by Ms. Jacob. Unanimous, ayes, 5, no nays. Any discussion? Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Bennett, second by Ms. Purdy. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes?
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. A resolution was presented to the members for use of ARPA funds to the East Oakland Township Park District for a pickleball court. See attached. Motion by Ms. Purdy to approve and forward to the county board, second by Mr. Clayton. 4 ayes and 1 nay. Any discussion? I think George is here to, any question? A motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Friesland, a second. By Mr. Doty. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey, no. Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
No. A resolution regarding the transfer of property within the Coles Business Park was presented to the committee. Mr. Watts moved to approve and forward this resolution to county board. Ms. Jacobs seconded.
I think you skipped
13.
Pardon?
13.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up. Okay, here we go. A resolution was shared with the members for the use of ARPA funds to the Oakland Landmarks Committee for community development. Mr. Watts motion to approve and forward to the county board and the second by Ms. Purdy. Unanimous, 5, no nays. Any discussion? Motion?
I so move.
Motion by Ms. Purdy, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Watts. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts,
Yes.
pardon me, Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. Okay. A resolution regarding transfer of property within the Coles Business Park was presented to the committee. See attached. Mr. Watts moved to approve and forward this resolution to county board. Ms. Jacobs seconded. Unanimous, 5 yes, no nays. Any discussion?
That's the only one that I'm not really familiar with.
The Coles County Business Park is going to have a new business, and they needed more property, and they need to be able to turn a corner with semis. And there's a ordinance that requires each lot has to be a certain size. So when they take the corner off, so that semis can make the turn, that lot's too small. So what we're doing is, the Coles together requested to change the lot sizes so they're back to the sizes they need to be. Motion?
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. Watts, second by Mr. Clayton. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
No.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Doty, who keeps coughing every time Denise is voting? I need to turn up my hearing aid. Sorry. Friesland
Yes.
and Cox.
Yes.
I voted yes.
I don't think it should be right after.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I have
Yeah,
all yeses and Yes, sir.
Okay, did you? I'm gonna move it right along.
She won't have We're finally going to get to Friesland, it takes me longer. It's short, and Clayton.
The Health and Safety Committee was called to order at 4:30 p.m. with the following members present: Jeremy Dowdy, Lisa Jaco, and Darrell Cox Chair, Tad Friesland, and Denise Corey were not able to attend. Also attending were Jim Hilgenberg, EMA Director, Julie Dieters, Care Center, Jeff Lauer, Mental Health Administrator, Kelly Lockhart, and Allison Hudson from Regional Planning. Board members Gail Mason and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. Read the EMA update. Mr. Hildenberg gave the monthly EMA report. Discussion followed. He added he is hoping the new decoder will help with the siren difficulties in Mattoon. He also shared with the members that the Lincoln Fire Protection District would like to cease the dive team and give it back to the county. Discussion followed. No action was taken. Mr. Hildenberg and the committee also discussed finding a location to store the EMA van and trailer. After discussion, he was asked to reach out and get possible locations and storage fees for the committee. No action was taken. Care Center update. Ms. Dieters gave the March monthly report. Ms. Dieters also shared with the members that the shelter has a new phone system which ties to the county phone system. She added her staff has recently visited St. John's Lutheran School with some of the animals. Girls from Illinois State Track meet, and also students from Jefferson School visited the shelter to walk and play with the animals. Ms. Dieters discussed with the members possibly purchasing a Square credit card processor or something similar for the center. She was instructed to get a price on the system. No action was taken. No old business. New business, Mr. Lockhart and Ms. Hudson shared a service agreement with C-Car Industries for cardboard recycling. Because C-Car is now charging a recycling fee for all customers, Mr. Lockhart explained an annual fee of $1,820 to be taken out of the recycling budget line item. Mr. Dowdy motioned to approve this agreement and forward to the county board. Ms. Jaco second. Ayes and unanimous, 3, no nays. Absent were Corey and Friesland. Is there any discussion? Motion? I'll make the motion. Motion by Mr. Bennett, second by Ms. Purdy. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. Insurance Committee, Ms. Purdy.
No meeting, however, Surma will be meeting in July in Bloomington.
No Liquor Commission meeting. Mental Health Board.
We did have a meeting, Mr. Chairman, but I don't have the minutes.
Thank you. Planning and Development Commission, Mr. Wallace.
No meeting, but I will note that Mr. Cox and I are serving on a committee that's studying, doing a study to see how we might both improve dial-a-ride and expand services and find funding to do that. Called the Comprehensive Operations Study Meeting with a survey that's going out, and they'll have an opportunity to respond to key subjects. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Public Health, did anybody else attend that meeting? Wait till next month. Road and Bridge Committee, Mr. Doty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Road and Bridge Committee was called to order at 5:15 p.m. with the following members present: Rick Tripp, Bob Bennett, Jeremy Dowdy, Lisa Jaco, and myself, Chairman, presiding. Also attending were Rick Johnson, County Highway Engineer, Josh Hartke, and David Rice from Apex Clean Energy, Elizabeth Michaels, Tom Sherman, and Mrs. Sherman. There was no old business. Under new business, Mr. Johnson presented members a resolution to award a contract for bridge rehabilitation on County Highway 20, called 33rd Street Road. A motion by Mr. Bennett was made to forward this to the county board, and Mr. Dowdy seconded. At this time, I so move.
A motion for discussion? I'll make a motion. He made a motion. Yeah, I need a second, I'm sorry. Mr. Bennett, I second. Mr. Doty's motion. Get that?
Doty and Bennett.
Okay. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey, Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Number 2, a resolution to award a contract for soil modification and surface treatment on County Highway 17, commonly known as East Harrison Street Road. A motion was made by Mr. Bennett to forward to the county board, and a second by Mr. Dowdy. At this time, I so move.
And second?
I'll say.
By Mr. Friesman. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
3, a resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code with use of motor fuel tax funds allocated to Coles County for construction costs of roadway improvement projects. Ms. Jaco moved forward to the county board for approval and was seconded by Mr. Shook, and at this time I so move.
Second that one. Second by Mr. Bennett. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
4, a reimbursement agreement with Apex Energy for preliminary legal and engineering costs due to proposed road use agreement. A motion by Mr. Shook was made to forward to the county board with a second by Ms. Jaco. At this time, I so move.
Can I ask for a little bit more information about that? What are we committing to, and what is the reimbursement?
I would refer that to Mr. Johnson.
This is for reimbursement from the developer, which at this time is Apex Energy, for any legal fees that we come upon that we need review of the road use agreement before it's done, and also for the engineer, which is on the next estimate, if we have to hire them an hourly rate to help us review which roads they're going to use and what kind of structural analysis they do to make sure that everything's correct. And that is all reimbursed by the developer.
I understand it covers all the costs. Nothing for the county, right?
Up front, the county's paying.
What's that?
We're paying something up front. We're going into a cost share agreement with Apex and these other townships, right?
With 2 townships and ourselves, yes, or 3 townships, I'm sorry, and ourselves with Apex for reimbursement of any costs that we would incur. But we will pay them upfront. There will be a pool of money, I think that's, $3,000 or $5,000 in there, that they will give us once if this gets approved, and then we will spend off of that. Because we will also send our invoices to them so they see what we're doing.
And in the budget?
It is all reimbursed.
It's not in the budget.
No.
Thank you.
This is common practice.
This is just trying to protect us from any developers that come in and
So this is,
that get reimbursed for
like if
that.
we want to seek legal counsel to make sure that things are in good shape, we can do that and then bill.
We have, correct, and we have that
Okay.
in mind a few months ago.
Any further questions?
You bet.
A motion, a second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Number 5, agreement with ESI Consultants LLC for preliminary service for the development of the road use agreement with the proposed wind energy project. A motion was made to forward this agreement to the county board by Mr. Bennett and seconded by Mr. Shook. At this time, I so move.
Discussion? No discussion, a second? I'll make the second. Second by Mr. Bennett. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
No.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
The county highway engineer's report was distributed to the members for review, followed by discussion. And Mr. Tom Sherman did have public comment, and there was no miscellaneous business. And the meeting adjourned at 5:43 with a motion by Mr. Shook and a second by Mr. Bennett.
Thank you. Senior Citizens Tax Levy Committee.
We are discussing meeting dates as we speak. It's going to be either June the 30th or one of the days in July. We have 3 dates that we are looking at.
Sheriff and Law Enforcement Committee, Ms. Gloria.
There was no meeting.
Thank you. Supplies and Claims Committee, Mr. Bennett.
The members of the Supplies and Claims Committee reviewed the bills and agreed for them to be paid, and I so moved.
Second. I'll second. Second by Mr. Clayton. Roll call.
Mason,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Swatz,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Friesland,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes. WIOA Committee, Ms. Purdy.
The executive meeting of the Local Workforce Innovation Area 23 was held June 8th at the CEFS office in Effingham to discuss the proposed budget for fiscal year 2024 that would be presented to the full board. Of course, this just happened, so there's no official minutes. And by the way, our local WIOA covers 13 counties: Clark, Clay, Coles, Crawford, Cumberland, Edgar, Effingham, Fayette, Jasper, Lawrence, Marion, Moultrie, and Richland. The board met for the Local Workforce Innovation Area 23 on Monday, June 12th, yesterday, at the CEFS office in Effingham. The proposed budget was approved and sent to the chief elected officers. Guest speakers from AIM, which stands for Aspirations in Manufacturing, presented information about the new program in the Kaskaskia College District. AIM will work with its area high schools to connect interested juniors and seniors with manufacturing programs for dual credit, in which they will receive both high school and college credit. A mentor from the manufacturing industry will provide guidance and leadership. Students can earn 16 credit hours and a 10-hour OSHA, Occupational Health and Safety Administration card. AIM is a pre-apprenticeship program, meaning that students could receive an apprenticeship and a 2-year college degree after succeeding with this program. By the way, the chief executive officers did approve the budget. In reports, the Navigator Apprenticeship Program, which started a year ago at Lakeline College, gained an extension on its grant. Effingham, through CEFS, has a new 14-passenger bus program called E-Trax that was patterned after the Coles County Dial-A-Ride program. They came up and talked with Dial-A-Ride about how to run a program. But this is going to be only for to provide transportation exclusively to and from work locations. Then also we have success stories that people who have used the WIOA programs have been selected. Some of them have been selected for us to choose which one we think has the best story, came the farthest in succeeding through the programs, and then they will be honored at a future state meeting. And one is from Mattoon, who now works at Carl Hospital as a registered nurse in the labor and delivery unit, making $35 an hour after using the program to get her college paid for. So I have additional copies if you would like to see how wonderful this is. So many of these people who come through that program are either single mothers or they've been dislocated workers. For instance, the one from Mattoon is the youth program. She came from the youth program There are others from the adult program, from dislocated workers. For some reason, they have, maybe their job had a reduction in employees, or their job, the company went to another country or something. And one was from a trade program. So really wonderful things happening with our local WIOA.
Thank you.
Oh, the next meeting will be September 18th in Effingham.
Any old business? Any new business? Any miscellaneous business?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to ask the board to thank Lisa McMichaels for her years of service as administrative assistant as she's retiring from the position.
Executive session. Announcement of appointments. True to the mental health board, I believe there are two to the public health board, but we have one on the agenda. I have no remarks. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll make the motion. There will be a second by Ms. Corey. Roll call.
Mason?
Yes.
Purdy?
Yes.
Shook?
Yes.
Wetz?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Clayton?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Doty?
Yes.
Friesland?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.